And we are live. Good evening, everyone. 5:30 p.m. in Melbourne. Thank you so much for finding some time to join us for this evening discussion. Please make sure you introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're watching us from. I think, where's my banner? Oh, don't have the banner for this. But anyway, please introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're joining us from. So, because we are still in Melbourne, and guess what's happening in Melbourne? It's still isolation here in Melbourne, and it's been extended for another 2 weeks. How exciting! So, but as I always say, isolation is a great time to learn something new and transform and adapt your business for the online world. So with so many conversations happening online at the moment, LinkedIn is a great way to stay meaningfully connected with your professional community. So, and yeah, when was the last time you actually updated your LinkedIn profile? So guess what? Tonight is your time. Tonight is the best time to update your LinkedIn profile, because Karen is actually going to share us how to write your LinkedIn profile to get found online. And tonight we're going to discuss things like why you actually need to update your LinkedIn profile, the key areas to pay attention to, and Karen's recommendations. And also, Karen going to mention some new profile features that you might want to consider. So, overall, tonight's discussion is all about understand what role LinkedIn can play in this changing world and how we can stay connected online with your professional community, because it's more important than ever. And if you know that you're interested in this topic, make sure you tag your connections who need to hear this, and they can also watch the replay. So, but before I pass it on to Karen to introduce herself, I just wanted to remind you that we actually going live today in a free platform, so Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And to watch the replay, I recommend you to go to the YouTube. Easiest way just to subscribe to my channel, because if you put notification bell on, you can get notification every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. and listen to our discussion with the different experts from the industry. So we're discussing all the things LinkedIn, online communication, and personal branding. So make sure you ask as many questions as you like. We will try to answer all the questions. We can't promise, but we'll try our best to answer all your questions. And guess what? Karen even will have some sort of giveaway for those who will be asking the most tricky questions and participating in our discussion. So we have a few people joining us. Rosanna's here. ISO State. Hi, Imtiaz. Hi, Yasir. Great to see you here. Andrew's here as well. Andrew will be our next guest speaker on next Wednesday, by the way, guys. So thank you so much, everyone, to joining us tonight. So let me just always forget which way to show.
No, that's it. You got it. You're a pro. I'm loving this. I'm watching you just going, you're amazing. Like between the last interview, so hi, I'm Karen. I just want to say, between the last interview we did and this interview, Yana, you are next level. You have just taken your way that you deliver and your, what am I doing? I'm YouTube subscribing, I'm signing up, I'm getting notifications. We're broadcasting live on 3 platforms. I take my hat off to you if I was wearing one. So that was incredible, quite inspiring. I sat there and kind of went, all right, okay, it's me now. I've got to tune in. Here I am.
Perfect. Hi, Stuart. Great to see you guys all there. So, okay, passing on to Karen to introduce herself.
Hello. So my name is Karen Hollenbach. Thank you for that fabulous introduction. If you don't know me, some people do affectionately call me the LinkedIn lady. I'm a LinkedIn training specialist. In 2019, I think I was nominated as one of the top 10 LinkedIn experts in Asia Pacific by the Social Media Marketing Institute. I work with individuals and organisations, and especially female-led service-based businesses across Australia, New Zealand and Singapore. I also write LinkedIn profiles. So we are one of the leading LinkedIn profile writing services in Australia for professionals in the mid-stage of their career. So I've worked with a number of organisations and educational institutions, and I just really love helping people with LinkedIn. So tonight is your opportunity to ask me lots of questions. Yana and I really want to make this as interactive as possible. So while I do have some key things I'm going to share with you, I really want to encourage those of you that are here live or who are here live to ask your questions. And yes, there is a reward for the trickiest question. And we really want to encourage you to be what I call tending to your LinkedIn garden, either during this session or as a result of the tips and insights I share with you.
Perfect, Karen. So thank you again for joining me tonight. And I do recommend all of you guys, open your open your LinkedIn profiles right now. And as Karen will be going through her tips, just implement straight away. It's the best way. You know, we have 40 minutes today with Karen, and you can gain so much from it. So firstly, I actually want to ask you guys, when was the last time you have updated your LinkedIn profile? Because I'm sure a few of you can relate. You know, you created your LinkedIn profile, you just chucked all the information there, and you let it sit there. And you might start doing some posts and articles, and you completely forgot that you haven't updated your summary about session or didn't incorporate any new features. So let's unwrap it tonight. So first question I'm going to ask Karen is why we actually need to optimize our LinkedIn profile? What's the point of it?
Well, I've always said you need to. I especially think you need to at the moment, whether you're in Melbourne, across Australia, or across the globe, because you really want to be in control of the information that people can find out about you online. So if people are within the LinkedIn platform and they're looking for someone with your skills and experience, then the more you optimize your profile, and optimizing just means filling in all of the key features within your profile, and the gamification element of LinkedIn will say, well done, you've got an all-star LinkedIn profile now. When you do fill in all of those, it will also tell you if you're at intermediate level and what you need to do to improve that. So the first one is just people are on LinkedIn and they're looking at someone with your skills and experience, then you want to really make sure that you've filled in all of your profile, all of the key elements of your profile, so that you turn up in search. Another key reason is that when someone mentions your name, so if someone's thinking about getting their game on in video, and I say to them, well, you've really got to be talking to Yana, one of the first things they'll do is say, what's her name? How do I spell it? And they'll write it down, and just in their Google search, they'll probably just type in Yana Martins. And so what you want is for your LinkedIn, like I would love to think that, Yana, you have an amazing personal branding website and it outperforms everything and looks fabulous and lands on page 1. Well done to you if it does. However, why don't we hack the LinkedIn sort of, the size of the LinkedIn platform and the recency and all the activity that's on there. And when someone types in our name, up pops our LinkedIn profile. So we really want to make sure that when that happens and someone's saying, oh yeah, I heard about Yana, I'm going to look her up, that all of your LinkedIn profile, what you've written, is talking to the people that you want to get into conversations with. So that could be potential headhunters, recruiters, hiring managers. It could also be potential clients, referrers, suppliers, collaborators. It's really going to depend on why you're on LinkedIn. And the third reason, and it's maybe less of a prominent reason than the first two, is that if you have all of the key features of your LinkedIn profile filled in correctly, then your user experience on LinkedIn will improve. So if you've got previous organizations that you've worked for, if you've got where you studied, where you've done voluntary experience, and then you've asked people for recommendations, LinkedIn will connect all of those dots and will sort of go, hey, you might also know, or we think you'd like to connect with, or we've put this in your newsfeed because it's relevant to what you're telling us you're interested in. And I think user experience is everything on LinkedIn at the moment, because there's a lot of people are spending time there. And so you want to make sure that not just the way your LinkedIn profile looks, but your LinkedIn user experience too is relevant for you. So there's lots of reasons. I could give you another 10, but they're my top 3 reasons why you need to optimize your LinkedIn profile.
And I'm glad you mentioned the last one, because I haven't really thought about it, but that's so true. Depends what information we're putting in our profile. We get all these recommendations, and sometimes you're surprised what recommendations pops up on LinkedIn, and you think like, oh, why it's recommended to me? But yeah, the easiest way to think about why it's been recommended to you is actually go and look at your profile and have a think why something like this keep popping up on your feed, because obviously algorithm changing every time as well, and we need to keep up with the changes.
Yeah, and that's especially important for people with dormant profiles. I mean, if you're more active on LinkedIn and you're liking and commenting on content a lot too, that will influence what you see as well.
Yep, 100%. Interesting. I keep updating my profile from time to time. Time to time, is it like, once a week or once a month or once a year? What's the time to time? Actually, it would be probably a really good exercise, guys. Go to Google right now and put your name in and have a look what's like, obviously what's coming up, but also have a look what position your LinkedIn profile have than you Googling yourself. You can actually do it right now.
And you can do it. I like to do that sort of stuff. I encourage people to do it in incognito mode from their computer, so it doesn't have any of the search that you might have already had your name in it. Or at a local library when we used to be able to go to those, or just grab someone you don't know that well's phone and Google yourself if they don't mind.
So I obviously have a website and blah, blah, blah.
Honestly, your real estate is good.
I have probably 5 pages of real estate, but still, even if I have like my website and things like this and millions of pictures, LinkedIn still popping up 4th. So which is quite up there if we can, if we think about the Google results. So it's still quite high. So have a look, guys. Try to do this exercise and see if the LinkedIn is actually the first thing that popping up, and you put your name in Google. And actually, someone told me to update profile every 2-3 days. Is it correct?
No, I mean, they may have meant, hi Sandra, they may have meant to be active on LinkedIn every 2 to 3 days and to like and comment, but I would not be updating your, I'd be looking at every 3 to 6 months and just as relevant. So as there's a new event that happens in your business or career that you want to highlight, I mean, the featured section, which is something we'll talk about, which all of you should be absolutely optimizing at the moment, there's a lot more reason to be updating your profile more regularly, but I'd be saying as a general rule every 3 to 6 months. It's going to be person dependent and industry dependent, but that would be my general rule for how often to update.
Stephen's saying, I'm too scared. I'm too scared to see what's happening. I Google my name. But then he's first position after website. That's pretty good too. Sandra saying my first thing, probably because Sandra, you don't have a personal website. So that's not about the position. Sandra saying thank you. Sometimes once a month, sometimes when I get feedback from someone. Once a month, yep. So my name coincides with the Bollywood director and affects my SEO on Google. Any tips of getting around this?
You need to get Kate Toon on. Kate Toon's the SEO expert. So, maybe Yana will talk to her. No, SEO is definitely not my area of expertise, but there's someone like Kate Toon can definitely help you.
I think the easiest way, there is a quick SEO tip for LinkedIn, is put your position instead of your last name. So, for example, if you look at my LinkedIn profile, it says Yana Martins Video Coach. So it will come up in the search as well. So I'm putting Video Coach as my last name. So that's a one way around it. So if there's too many people with the same name.
There is a hack you can do that I'm not that comfortable with. So you can see my body language, the discomfort. But what some people do is, and so it's a hack, I don't love it, but because I don't think it's good for the reader's user experience. And so I always look at, sort of reader user experience, looking at your profile first and then SEO. But you can put your name written in different formats in different ways at the bottom of your summary or your about section. And I know a lot of recruiters that do that to get found. So you kind of mention your name across your profile. I don't love it. I'm not advocating it, but I'm just helping answer your question.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. So let's dig into, more practical tips. So once we decide that's it, we want to update our LinkedIn profile at least once a month. So where would we start? Obviously, like from the top, I guess, from the
well, yes, from the top, but it depends
top.
on how your top's looking, really. I mean, so yeah, images are everything, right? So even though this is something that gets written, we have to just check your photo. And I know that you might have looked fabulous 10 years ago when you first uploaded your LinkedIn profile photo, but is that what you still look like? So make sure it's a photo that represents a real version of you of the last sort of, 2 to 3 years. It's a professional photo. The background image is a feature that's available to everyone, free account or paid account. So make sure you use that wisely. I'm a content marketer, so I've chosen to be more subtle with my choice of background image. But I certainly know people that have just launched online courses, or they've got a signature program that they're busy promoting at the moment, that they would use that real estate in their background image to promote that. And that's a great idea too. So I think photography and imagery is everything. Yes, from the top really. So then you'd move through your headline. So, if we have a look at this, in the headline, you've got 120 characters available to you. Now, interestingly, since I screenshotted this for you, Jana, I have changed my LinkedIn headline. And so that is something that I change on a fairly regular basis, probably every 2 to 3 months, COVID more than usual. And I tend to change my headline based on keywords. So what people are asking for when I get inquiries through my website, what sorts of things they say they need. And I tend to use the language that people would use in search or when they're describing my services. So I'm just trying to make it easier for them to find me on LinkedIn. And there's also that providing services section. So there's 2 new features. And I know we're going to talk more about new features, but you're sort of saying, look, what are some of the first things you do? If you're someone who has written your LinkedIn profile and you're fairly happy with it, I really want you to look out for one of 2 key features. So one of them is if you're an entrepreneur or you own a business, sort of the same thing, and you want to feature your services. Now, unfortunately, this is not available to everyone, and you will really just get a prompt on your phone or a prompt from your desktop to fill it in. You can also look in the add profile section, in the intro card section. We're effectively looking at the intro card at the moment. There sometimes is the option to add providing services in there. And of course, there's the open to work, letting people know that you're open to work feature. So if you haven't optimized them in your profile and filled them in, and especially for job seekers, you should be doing that now. You should be going in and going, I didn't even know there was an open to work feature. And it will explain why half the people you're connected with at the moment have got this green swoosh underneath their name, underneath their picture. So I think it used to be called Update Your Career Interests, Jana, and probably in the last maybe 3 months or so, maybe more. I feel like this year has been 10 years, right? I can't, but on this in the same way, I can't believe it's September. So I think we've all got a bit of a distorted sense of time at the moment, especially in Melbourne. But I feel like over the last maybe 3 months, that open to work feature has been more prominent, and you've got the option to either let recruiters know that you're open to work, or you've got the option to just let your whole network know that you're open to work. And see what LinkedIn's doing there. It's prompting you to endorse me. So if we go back up, you can see it's actually prompting you to endorse me for different skills. So when you're looking at my profile, so that's the providing services. So I've, because of the current environment, I've started to remind people that apart from LinkedIn profile writing, we also provide resume writing services. And I've seen, which is probably a byproduct of the current economic environment. Thank you for that endorsement. I don't know if you turned it off or endorsed me, you did it so quickly. I've definitely seen an increase in people contacting me cold through LinkedIn saying, look, can you quote me on your resume writing and LinkedIn profile writing services? So you can see here my headline's changed and the word LinkedIn is appearing many, many times. But also I've overtly put the word LinkedIn profile writer in there because I've had a few clients in the last month say to me, oh, do you still write LinkedIn profiles? Now, that's the cornerstone of my business. And the fact that people who know me well are still asking me that question made me just change my headline. I thought if it's not clear for people that are signed up to my email newsletter and regularly get my updates, that, it needs to be really clear that we write LinkedIn profile. We write LinkedIn profiles. So they're the key things at the top of your profile. What else would you like to know? We've got 955 mutual connections. Look at that.
Last time I have a look, I didn't have this providing services feature. Let's have a look at me. So I can do only for work. But
can you go to add profile section? Can you jump up to add profile? No, so just see the blue add profile section, left, go across a bit. Yep. Intro. Now back up, you're hovering, go back up, intro, click into intro. Yeah, so it's not giving you the option. And so I've queried LinkedIn on this, and apparently it's not being offered to everybody. And I had a client who has something like a $30,000 recruiter license. And she said to me, Karen, why don't I have this? And I said, look, I think that's really a question you should be asking your LinkedIn account manager. And their response was, well, it's not available to everyone. So this is the thing.
Because I remember, I think I read it on your maybe on your update or somewhere about this providing services, and I went to have a look, and I couldn't allocate it on my profile, and then I just forget about it because I couldn't find it.
No, well, it was a prompt. I literally just got given as a prompt. Would you like to fill it in? In the same way, people are getting that prompt for recording the 10-second message to help people pronounce their name. So if you go into so I've sort of jumped the gun. We're talking about features. But the other thing I'd be really encouraging people to do is go into their LinkedIn profile, and I'm actually going to show it to you on mine. I don't know if you got the option. Yeah.
I think last time I didn't have it, but I'll check. Oh, no, I do have it. I do have it.
So see that there, you're going to get this prompt, and that's how a lot of these new features come up. So this is saying to me, let people know how to pronounce your name, add pronunciation. Now, so many people love to say to me, oh, Hollenbach, you ain't no Hollenbach girl. And I'm sort of like, yes, that's the first time I've ever heard that. Thank you. But this is, it's not actually how you pronounce my name. So if it was important to me to let people know that my name was actually Hollenbach, I would maybe use that feature. But how I'm seeing people use this feature really well is it's a 10-second recording, right? So I've heard a business coach use it really well, where she says, hi, I'm whoever, this is what I do. If you need some help with, contact me, and includes her phone number.
10 seconds. There we go.
Yeah. So really, all of you, there is no reason, if you have got that prompt on your phone, have some fun with this. Really think about what you want people to know about you, what's important to your brand, what's important about potential employers, hiring managers, clients, referrers. Have fun with this feature. And this is the thing, Yana, just because LinkedIn gives you a feature for a certain purpose doesn't mean you have to use it for that purpose. So I think the 10-second pronounce your name feature is fun. And why haven't I changed mine? Well, the plumber that doesn't fix her own things. My profile's looking fabulous. I just haven't really felt the desire to add it and have my voice there. And I think I will eventually. I just like when I'm training, showing people the prompt. That's probably the real reason. I want people to understand where they can activate it.
I know what I'm doing after this show.
Good. My work here is done.
Trying to get it in 10 seconds.
So what I want to know once you've done it is how many times it took you to record it. Okay, question.
Too many. So Imtiaz asking how to write a good about summary section. Should we use all the available space, or does shorter summary work better? And also, I want to ask you as well about the about section. A lot of people starting with I help, and and I think then a lot of people start saying no, I help is too old. It's not trendy anymore. Don't start it with I help anymore. So what is your thoughts about that?
Well, it's interesting. I quite like I help, and it really depends on two questions. So we will answer specifically the about section, Imtiaz, in a minute. I just want to sort of deal with what Yana just said. So I think that ultimately, before you make any of these changes on your profile, and I really should have said this right at the start, is you need to think about what do you want to be known for and who are you trying to influence. So if the I help language is suitable and relevant to your clientele, if they're a more conservative and potentially older demographic, then they're not going to be thinking about what the latest trending buzzword is for how you open up on your LinkedIn profile about section. In fact, they're probably going to be more interested in more formal business language. So you need to think about what's relevant to your audience, and it's very, very dangerous to worry about what your competitive set is doing. What is more valuable is to think about the communities you're serving and the language that's relevant to them. And that's exactly why I changed my headline, because people refer to what I do as a LinkedIn profile writer and LinkedIn marketing. So those things have gone in my headline because that's how people refer to me and that's what they're searching for at the moment. And Google tells me that's what people are searching for at the moment. So if you don't know that very basic Google hack to find your keywords, That's a great way to influence how you write your headline. So back to your question, how to write a good about summary section. Should we use all the available space, or does shorter summary work better? So in terms of the length, I would prefer you to think about quality over quantity. However, if you're a natural storyteller and you have an interesting series of things to showcase within the about section, then I really do want you to use all of those 2,000 characters available to you. However, if you're not very verbal, you are you allocate a budget to how many words you might use each day. And what is it, Yana? Women use 5,000 words, men use, I know plenty of men that use 5,000 words. So, but if you tend to be someone who doesn't use a lot of words when you speak, then somewhere in the mid-range might be more suitable for you. So the length is really, it's a really good question, because it's also thinking about what's relevant to your personal brand. So if you're succinct and a bit matter of fact and say it how it is, then I need that reflected in your summary and the about section. Same thing, used to be called the summary, now called the about section. Then make sure that's reflected. And I do actually have a blog dedicated to this, because it's one of the top 5 questions. And don't ask me what the other 4 are, Yana. The top 5 questions I get, and I thought, oh my God, she's going to ask me what the other 4 are. The top 5 questions I get asked about writing a LinkedIn profile, because I know it's the most difficult thing to write in your LinkedIn profile. And I've built a business on the fact that it's hard to write about yourself. The other thing I want you to think about, a good about summary section, is that it uses, can you just go back to that slide again, Yana?
Yes.
So it needs to be written in the first person. So it needs to be you writing about you, not Karen Hollenbach is one of the leading, you don't write like that. So my about here has actually changed recently. So can we go to my profile?
Yes,
please. You know how you go, you're fabulous. I love the way you can just put things up. And so I changed this recently.
I love this.
Yeah, it's great. You just did next level.
I just been obsessed with StreamYard recently, and it keeps introducing new features. I popped the link to StreamYard in the comments as well, because I love using StreamYard for all this.
Well, you're great at it. So scroll down. So let's look at don't click on see more. So go back out and say, hang on, wait, there's more. So what's important, how funny, if let's see if I start with I help. Do I start with I help? No. So I have changed this in the last 3 weeks. And I think so to answer the question, what makes a good about, I think the first line is the most important. And you can see here why, right? Because you have to click on see more. Now, I also don't like, maybe the feedback around I help is she so wants to click on that see more. We'll click on it in a minute. The whole reason I don't like, I don't really care about the help, right? I don't like sentences that start with I, because they're about you. I want the first sentence to be about the reader. And so this is where I've written, if you wish to build your presence on LinkedIn, learn how to write your LinkedIn profile the right way, and improve your LinkedIn marketing, I'd love to show you how. So I am really saying this is what I help with, but you go to where the person is and you take the reader in. And so the reader's like, yeah, I do want to know about that. See more. So click on see more. I then have that first line that's really talking about my credibility, which is uncomfortable for a lot of us. And frankly, it's uncomfortable for me to talk about myself in those terms, but I've just had to get over that discomfort. So I then talk about my credibility as a LinkedIn trainer. I then contextualize my role and how I choose to show up professionally. And then I have, maybe it's a word that shouldn't be in there. Yeah, helping. And that's a key part of my brand, all right? My personal brand is very, very much about helping people. And at the moment, it's about helping people get to the other side, right? We all want, especially in Melbourne, we want this to be over. So helping others is how we're all going to make our way through the current times. And so I then, tell a bit of a story. I use all caps. Now, yes, you can use Unicode to change your font and be really, really tricky. And that's completely up to you. If you're a fan of emojis, you can lace them through your whole LinkedIn profile if that's what you want to do. So you can see I use some arrows there to point you to some key things that I want you to know. So you're welcome to join my monthly lunch and learns. And then I have what I call, this is a really important part of your about section, a call to action. So the question you've got to ask yourself is, what do I want people to do as a result of having read my LinkedIn profile about section? Like, what action do you want them to take? So we can talk about conversion events. We can talk about, whatever language you want to use. And so I've written, I invite you to connect or message me to ask your LinkedIn question. So I'm really trying, thank you. So I'm really trying, Jana's highlighted that there. So I'm really trying to say to people, invite me to connect, ask me your questions. And I ran a webinar earlier today for General Assembly, and I think we had 750 people register across the globe. And that was one of the key things I said to them all. And I spoke to Jana about this as we were sort of getting ready for today's live. I can't possibly answer everyone's questions in a webinar, like that many questions, but I really do like to help people, and especially at the moment. So I'm not suggesting for a minute, ask me a long detailed question, I'll answer all of it. But if you have just a quick question that you want to ask, you are watching this recording, you didn't attend live and you missed the opportunity to ask me a question, do send me an invitation to connect and said, I listened to you on Jana's live, I do actually have a specific question. Great. And so you've got to decide how approachable you want to be, how much you're going to use your LinkedIn profile as a tool or not. I mean, I view my LinkedIn profile as my 24/7 online ambassador. So it's working for me while I'm sleeping. And because I do serve clients across the world, there's going to be times when people are looking me up and finding out information about me that I'm going to be asleep and I'm not going to be answering emails. My LinkedIn profile can be doing the work for me.
So many good information there, Karen. I know that a lot of people also recommend put your mobile or email in the about session as well, or link on your website.
Yeah, I don't want people to ring me. With all due respect. So I spoke to a business development manager today who wanted some feedback on his LinkedIn profile. He's engaging my services. And we agreed in his role as a business development manager, it was completely appropriate to have his phone number and email as the call to action at the bottom of that's the action he wanted people to take. I'm not a big fan of people putting their mobile phones in their headline. I think it's a bit tacky. It's kind of like the person that throws the flyer when they first meet you at a networking event. Remember that, Jana, when we used to have in real life networking events? It will happen again, I hope, at a social distance and safely with masks on. I don't know how I'm going to drink my champagne with the mask on, but I'm sure I'll find a way. A straw, maybe, special sort of straw. Yeah. Hey, there's an idea.
Glass straw. Global warming, okay?
Bamboo straw. Yeah, something like that. Yes. So it's all about context, right? So for me, I have conversion events that I want to go on as a result of someone connecting with me. I want to be able to qualify potential clients through my initial conversation. So I'm not going to make my phone number readily accessible. And I'm also someone that's been a victim of identity theft. So I am really conscious of protecting. So they didn't get away with it, but they tried damn hard. So I'm also someone who's really conscious of protecting my privacy and giving people a way to contact me that is also keeping me safe and taking people down the pipeline that I want them to go down. And so that is why the call to action for me is very much just send me an invitation to connect. So it's still at arm's length. They're not coming into my inbox, which is way too busy. And, you're probably going to get a better response from me over on LinkedIn anyway. But that just depends. If you're a business development manager and you've got to get as many leads and new conversations starting as possible, then it's completely appropriate to put your phone number and email there.
Oh my God, Karen, we have so many questions. I don't know which one.
I can see them popping up. I could see them popping up before, but I can't see them now.
What do you think about running your LinkedIn profile through JobScan? I don't even know what's a JobScan.
Okay. Here's what I think about using your LinkedIn profile as a resume. So the short answer is I don't even know what JobScan is, but I think it might be something to do with job search. And I think that, so the short answer is I don't know, but I'm going to say a couple of things about exporting your LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn offers the option to export your LinkedIn profile or to prompt to write a resume. Now, I began life in my business as a career coach, and I now have a job search and career coach person in my business. So the reason I can't answer that question is because I don't work every single day in career and job search. That's what my team member does. But we Marina Pitasano and I talk often about the role of the LinkedIn profile and the role of the resume. So my view is the resume needs to be written for every single new job you apply for. So I can't answer the question specifically about JobScan, but I will say please do not export your profile as a PDF and use that as a resume. Please do not attach your resume as a PDF file onto the featured section of your LinkedIn profile, because what used to happen is people used to just flick out their resume. Oh, I'm looking for a new job, I'm going to flick out my resume. No, a resume needs to be an incredibly tailored document. So we can help you write a master resume. And when I say I do resume writing, I have a resume writer that works with me in my business writing resumes. So if you kind of go, hang on, Karen, you're saying you're a resume writer and you don't know what JobScan is, I have a specialist within my business that does that. But you know what I'm going to be doing straight after the webinar is looking at what JobScan is. Okay.
So, I'm just trying to decide which questions to answer. I think this is a broad question, but I think we can summarize a few things answering this question. What are some biggest mistakes?
Yeah, so I've got the 3 biggest mistakes you've ever made you can make on LinkedIn, or the 9 biggest mistakes. I've written about this a lot. So not including a headshot photo, including a mobile phone number. I just think it's really sort of a bit like a nightclub on a Saturday night. It's a bit of a numbers game. Not tending to your LinkedIn garden, so it's just being really, really dormant and not representing you now. Being really transactional. But I guess that's not about your profile. I guess that comes back to putting the picture up there. Not filling in all the key details and not taking control of your skills and endorsements. So I'll never forget running training for a group of a mix of men and women. There was a highly sort of technical sales team. And the reason I bring up the fact that they were men and women is one of these women were particularly attractive and she had not taken control of her LinkedIn skills, and some of her colleagues and previous clients thought it was really amusing to put in her skills that she was hot and good looking. And look, while that all might have been true, I don't think that's appropriate. And how embarrassing for her. And I sort of brought it to her attention. She's like, oh, that's really embarrassing. So just making sure that you're in control of all of the features. The other mistake is to do all this work on your profile and then to have your public profile settings so people can't even find you. So there is an option, and you may want to go at some point back on live on LinkedIn, Jana, in terms of like actually live on either yours or my profile, but there's the option to edit your public profile. And it's really important, if you're going to take the time to update all this information on your LinkedIn profile, to make sure you're searchable off LinkedIn. Otherwise, that whole conversation I just had with you at the start about, oh, it makes you searchable is redundant. So that's some of the biggest mistakes. I did mention no photo, didn't I? Like, you have to have a photo.
Yep. Yeah, and also, we can talk about the photos a lot as well, because make sure your photo actually looks like you, not like a picture from the Shutterstock. Because people...
I've got a story to tell you about a picture from the Shutterstock at some point when you want to hear it.
Because so many people, there is so many fake profiles as well at the moment. So people want to quickly decide if you're a real person or not as well. So that's why I make sure your picture looks quite real as well. So because it will be this split-second judgment if you, accept or not accept. So, we're trying to concentrate on the writing profile topic today, because I think there's just so many questions coming overall about LinkedIn. And I feel like we have to run like a few live streams like this, but we're already up to 38 minutes. So,
Jana, can I say something on that? Can I just jump in on that? So I mentioned the General Assembly. So if people go onto the General Assembly website, I'm actually running 2 more free workshops this month. So one is on how to network on LinkedIn, and one is on how to develop a content plan for LinkedIn. So if people want to jump over to General, not yet, don't go now. On General Assembly, you can sign up, and I can't see all the questions. So you're obviously popping up the questions you want me to see. But if any of the questions are about those topics, you will find me running some sessions for General Assembly.
Very few people ask questions about recommendation. Maybe let's answer this one because Wilson asking how valuable do you think recommendation, and Charlotte as well.
Yeah. Okay, so Charlotte, I couldn't answer your other
questions.
question, but I can answer this one. So recommendations to me are as powerful as a referee in your resume, or someone that you ring, a client testimonial, and so the way I want you to think about recommendations, and I like them more than skills. Skills are still important. So recommendations are your personal branding version of social proof. So every single business owner gets told, make sure you have Google reviews, and every restaurant gets told, make sure you have Google reviews. So when I go to your LinkedIn profile and I read all this stuff about you, and let's be real, you can write anything about yourself. But then I go down to your recommendations and I've got all these people saying, oh, Jana's amazing. If you want video coaching, if you want to take LinkedIn Live seriously and learn how to do it, she's the person. If you want to learn how to use YouTube, I feel like that might be your next thing, Jana. She's the person. So have a look at those recommendations, and they're fantastic because you're giving social proof to people reading your profile that don't just take my word for it. These other people say this about me. But let's think about how we do this. Let's ask the most senior people we know and the most influential in the context of the jobs that you're applying for or the clients that you're wanting to do work with. Let's read Karen's blog on how to ask for recommendations. So I think I've got my website somewhere. You can go and just look up the blog. And then let's help those people that we're asking for the recommendation. So you have to be connected to that person on LinkedIn to request the recommendation. And you can't just expect to shoot off a recommendation, that person go, oh, yes, I'm going to stop everything else I'm doing and I'm going to sit here and just think about this one thing and giving you feedback. The reality is people delay it and they don't spend time giving you the feedback. So either ring them, email them, text them, however you communicate with them and say, hey, heads up, thank you so much for that positive feedback. Or, how you loved me when I worked with you? Well, I'm an active job searcher. I've really been pitching for new clients and I'd really value your feedback. I've sent you a recommendation, a request for a recommendation. When would you have 5 minutes for me just to kind of talk you through how to do it? And would it be easier for you if I just kind of put something together and cut and pasted it and sort of messaged it to you and you could just put that in the recommendation? So I don't know if you've ever had to ask a boss to write your referee or like your personal reference. I certainly have had to because I do have the skill of writing, but it's the same thing, right? So yes, to answer your question, they're incredibly important, and probably once you've optimized all of your profile of the bits that you can write about, the number one thing you need to get feedback on. And two, you can't just expect to flick the request for a recommendation off and for that person to do it. So please assist them so it's a really easy task for them. And so what I do when the client gives me positive feedback after a training session or updating their LinkedIn profile or implementing their LinkedIn marketing plan, and they send something really nice back in a email, I'll just have, I say to them, thank you so much for that feedback. How would you feel about me cutting and pasting this and requesting a recommendation for you via LinkedIn? And they go, yeah, sure. And I do it in that moment, straight away, send the request, copy and paste their words.
Yeah, great advice. Also, sometimes what I do, if I answer someone's question, maybe we have like just a 15 minutes strategy call or something like this, someone want to just pick my brain, I would always ask, oh, do you mind, like I'll answer your questions, but do you mind just pop the recommendations for me? Works really well as well, because person kind of feel that I helped them, but it wasn't enough for the paying client, but they will put the recommendation in that I help them with the specific question, for example. So can work really well too. But just repurposing recommendations from other platforms, as simple as it is. Someone write you email or someone write you in the message. So sometimes people write in the DM, and you can also ask them like, oh, thank you so much for your message, but can you just pop it into my recommendation as well?
But you can actually, when you request the recommendation, you can actually just cut and paste what they said and say, hi, could you please recommend me? And here it is. and just like make it as easy as possible, because I think it's quite hard for people to, oh, I've got to go into LinkedIn, what's my login? Like if they don't use LinkedIn a lot, it's not an easy request. If they're a prolific LinkedIn user, it's fine. But the more senior you go, you start to sort of, people have a bit of a love-hate relationship with LinkedIn, because the more senior you are, the more likely you are that people are coming at you from a sales perspective on LinkedIn.
I think I would love to hear your answer on this last question, because we did talk a lot about the about section today, and this is specifically about the about section. Should you include a picture or something in your about section to break up the text? I don't think you can add picture in the about section.
Yeah, you can. So not in the about section anymore, but so this is where the featured section comes in. So Sandra, great question. And I love that you've stayed online, because you were here at the start and you asked this question. So scroll down. I think I've removed if you scroll down my profile, I think I had a picture of me speaking at the Executive Assistant Network conference last year. But see in this featured section, actually, let's go to your profile and I'll show you how you can do it. So the featured section is where you do it. And if you are wanting to influence, so here we go. If you can just click on the plus, see in the featured section to the right, there's a plus. So you can add media, you can upload a photo. So there's not really a restriction on the amount of at the moment. This might change. I don't think there's a heavy restriction on the amount of content that you can put in here. Maybe it's 20, maybe it's 100. I haven't found anyone who's tested that theory yet. But you could put it in here. But I think you've really got to think about, why is that picture there and why is it relevant? What I've done, I think the way, Yana, you've done it is really good. What I've done is sort of pointed people to my main service, as well as our lunch and learns, our monthly lunch and learns that I run online for business. So it just depends. Like, yes, I think the idea of having a visual to break things up is good, but not just for the sake of having a visual. Like, that is prime real estate, the featured section. So what I've done is sort of my two main events, so our main service and my monthly lunch and learn. And then if you scroll to the right, they're all my most popular LinkedIn articles. So these are the ones that I know people are sort of commenting on all the time. And so it's this idea, and Yana, I talked about this on Instagram. So for any of you familiar with Instagram, there's this idea of having the highlights on your Instagram feed for people to binge watch you, right? Like Netflix. And I think during COVID-19, we've all got really more comfortable with that idea of binge watching content. So I want you to treat your featured section in the same way. If you're particularly good at video, or if you've got some thought-provoking articles or posts that you've done, I would be using the featured section to highlight those. So Sandra, yes, definitely use a visual to break it up, but you could use also links to websites. And if you're a professional speaker, for example, Yana, one of the key things you'd want to be doing is having a picture in there of you presenting, whether or not you have that in your background image or not. You'd also probably want to put your speaker kit. So a lot of professional speakers that I've worked with, or that I know within my community, or that I've spoken with when I've spoken at events, have what's called a speaker's kit. So it's a PDF document that people can access and download when they're selecting speakers for their next event. So you should definitely be putting that in the featured section of your LinkedIn profile too.
Oh my God, so many information. So I hope you guys get so much value from tonight's live stream. We almost up to 50 minutes. The comments keep coming up. Yeah, let's do the giveaway. Let's do the giveaway. So guys, it's time for giveaway before we went completely off the of the schedule. So firstly, Karen, just tell us a little bit about your masterclasses.
So this is my Profile Essentials Masterclass. Now it's how to write your LinkedIn profile the right way. It's an evergreen virtual masterclass, which means you can access it from wherever you are, whenever you would like. There's 23 bite-sized modules in there, so you can chomp away at them over a couple of weeks, or you can binge, consume, and tend to your LinkedIn garden and update it in about 3 hours. So it's got my proven do-it-yourself Word template to how to write your LinkedIn profile. There's video tutorials, so there's me like this coming at you, and also some downloads on setting your goals, and the one that everyone loves, which is the 5 or 6 examples of how to write the about section, because it's the most difficult one to write. So that, I have a special offer on that till the end of September. So anyone that wants to enroll can get, there's my email, can get a 10% discount. And you can also access me along the way. So as you go into each module, it's built into my website, so you actually access it online. You get a login to the learning portal within my website, and you can write comments at the bottom of each module, and I check back in with you. This registration fee gives you 12 months access. So the good news is that if something changes on LinkedIn, which it invariably will, you will be the first person to know. So any modules that I add over the next 12 months, people can know that be confident that they're able to access those features.
Thank you, Karen. And so time for the giveaway, guys. So very few people who stayed with us for a whole 50 minutes, and we want to reward you for your participation. But I think there's, a bit of a competition here, because there are few people that has been quite active. So we want to ask you actually one question. What's the one thing you've changed on your LinkedIn profile during this live stream? Share with us, because Karen been giving this, endless resources about what you need to write and what you can change in the feature section and profile here. So did you actually change anything while we were talking? So please let us know in the comments, and we will probably pick the winner for giveaway. In the meantime, while you guys sharing with us your takeaways from today, Karen also have a lot of free resources on her website.
Yeah, so for those of you that really have not done much with your LinkedIn profile for a very long time, I do have this Get Your Profile in Better Shape LinkedIn profile tips. So I know I just have shown you my masterclass. The masterclass is much more comprehensive than this. This just gets you started. And the idea is I'm just trying to change your habits. So that's a free 5-week. You get a weekly tip from me each week. And I have covered most of those tips off today. But if there's someone else in your universe that you think would benefit from that, or you just would like the email reminder from me every week for 5 weeks, grab that offer. I do offer a 15-minute intro chat. So while I'm not going to put my phone number on my profile, if you would like to talk about our services and how I can help you across LinkedIn profile writing, as well as the LinkedIn marketing and LinkedIn training, I'd love to hear from you. So you can book an intro chat. And of course, a lot of the concepts that I talk about today, you can go over to our blog and go into the search, and you'll be able to see. Now, I don't know people can click those links live, Yana, so that could be something that we put in the comments after we finish this live, so people can access those resources.
Yes, we can definitely put this links in the comments. And guys, like I know there's been a few comments. If we miss some questions, do not hesitate to contact Karen directly. And after the stream, I'll go and reply to some comments as well. So let's see if someone did something. Imtiaz saying, I rearranged the introduction line in my about section. Here we go.
Good. That's not easy. That's good. Did it start with I help?
Stefan saying, my about checklist profile was public and now adding speaking kit.
Ooh,
here we go.
They're close, those two.
The action taker. Stefan is the action taker today. So we have one more, we have one giveaway today. So Karen, who's getting your extra giveaway today?
Oh, I think it's going to be our first gentleman, only because he was also actively asking questions. So I do love the addition of the speaker kit, but I think the fact that he did, that Imtiaz basically updated one of the hardest part of his profile. Now, I hope it's good. I'm sure it'll be good. So Imtiaz, you have won access to, so free registration for my Lunch and Learn, which is my monthly keeping you informed about all the features of LinkedIn. And I do a deep dive for about 10 minutes into a popular topic I've been training. And then you can also ask your LinkedIn questions live. And I actually stay online until I've answered all of them. That's not a criticism of you, Jana. I don't think we can possibly cover off all the questions. But during those more intimate settings, I think there's about 30 people online normally. So if you can send me an invitation to connect, Imtiaz, if you haven't already, if we're not already connected, I'll organise that registration for you. And it's on September 17th at 12:30. So for anyone else tuning in, you are welcome to join. It is a for business learning, and it's meant to be bite-sized to help you just tend to your LinkedIn garden and take advantage of all the amazing features available for your profile and your company page, which is a very popular business feature at the moment.
And Sandra was a bit late, but she said, remove your mobile phone number from the headline. Here we go, Karen.
Yay, my work here is done. What do you think? Do you feel like that could get a reward? The fact that she's listening and actually changing her behavior, do you feel like I should be rewarding another prize there, Jana?
Look, I will really appreciate if you give more giveaways on my live stream, because
I think so. I feel like Sandra falls into the same category. So Sandra, I can't see the details of your profile, but Sandra, if you are running a business, then you are also welcome to a free spot at my Lunch and Learn. So to redeem that, you will need to contact me via LinkedIn messaging. So send me an invitation to connect. It's September 17th at 12:30. That's Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Congratulations, guys. We're going to send you links. I am connected with Imtiaz and Sandra on the LinkedIn, so we'll send them links for the upcoming session. And okay, so let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up before we hit 1 hour. So what else we got here? So we just I really wanted to mention one new feature that's been really annoying.
Oh yes, we talked about this. All right,
we talked about it, but I feel like we don't have time for it. But really quickly, guys, what do you think about stories on LinkedIn? What do you think about stories? I just don't like them. That's why I'm asking. And I feel like stories don't belong on LinkedIn, but maybe because I just didn't have enough, crack at it. So Karen, what do you think about stories?
Well, I think it's misplaced. I can completely understand why LinkedIn's doing it. So the stats on LinkedIn behavior is that people are not spending anywhere near as much time on there as they are on platforms like Facebook and Instagram. And LinkedIn also brought in a while ago a whole lot of Facebook developers. So I think LinkedIn would like to think it's social media, but LinkedIn needs to remember that one of the beautiful things about it as a platform is that it doesn't have all those characteristics of social media that end up just feeling like a whole lot of noise. And so I think stories, while it might have a role for some, I think LinkedIn does attract a more serious, potentially reader who thinks things like stories are a little bit fickle. So I'm happy to be corrected on someone who's getting amazing results with their stories. But, it's really about bandwidth, right? And I think that the LinkedIn user experience, they're just adding so many features at the moment. And I just would like to see them be a little bit more discerning about those features. And I would have liked to have seen things like company page notifications come up in my personal notification feed before adding the functionality of something like stories. But I would be really, like you, Jana, I would be really interested to hear about people that are investing their time in putting their quote of the day, or Jana and I brainstorm the sorts of things that you could be doing. I mean, I do stories occasionally, but they're certainly not as much of a well thought out plan as it is sharing with you thought-provoking, helpful articles that you can have a good look at. Well, it'll be interesting to see how it evolves. I mean, stories have become an amazing thing for Instagram profiles for business because they're a way for you to binge watch. So we'll see how the stories functionality unfolds. If there's a way to make them evergreen and to use them as highlights, I will be more interested in using them as a feature.
Yeah,
what are people
good point, because
our
lives are just changing too quick. So yeah, I feel like it's return on investment is not there. So it's too much effort for not as much engagement. But yeah, we'll see what will happen. I probably should invite someone who know using stories a lot and have a separate live stream just about LinkedIn stories. I feel like there is so much confusion about LinkedIn stories. That's probably will be a great topic for next live stream. So guys, if you actually know someone who've been really successfully using LinkedIn stories, please tag them in the comments so I can contact them, and maybe we'll have a live stream talking about how they achieve it. In the meantime, I just want to remind you that we're going live every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. And we're talking about LinkedIn a lot in the next few weeks. So next week, we're going to talk with Andrew, and we're going to talk about LinkedIn Premium. Is it worth it? So make sure all sign in for LinkedIn Premium today. So by the next Wednesday, you tried it and you have your questions ready so that we can actually dig into the discussion. And the week after, we're gonna talk with Nick about how to write engaging LinkedIn posts. So we digged in a bit more about actually getting engaging through the post on LinkedIn. And the week after, we're gonna talk about structure of the content creation. And I already have guests till end of October. So guys, stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, because every Wednesday, 5:30, I'll bring you these amazing experts like Karen. Karen, thank you so much. It's been
Thanks for having me.
Session. There is so many comments, people saying, thank you, Karen. And I think I missed this before. Catherine saying, I will change my opening sentence of about section to make it about what value I can offer rather than just about me.
Yeah, great.
And I think that's a great point to finish up, because that's a great takeaway from today's session. Great takeaway and great advice to everyone. Just go now to your LinkedIn profile, look at the first sentence of your about session before see more part, and think about what sort of first impression you are providing to your viewers when they see this first sentence before they actually clicking see more. And Karen, last words from you.
Stay safe and think of us all in Melbourne. We can't wait to be like the rest of you that have our civil liberties available to us, and can't wait till we can have 2 hours a day of walking and to go further than 5 kilometres. And just a big thank you to you, Yana. I just think you're doing a fantastic job here. Well done. And I'm thrilled that you're showcasing one of my favourite business topics, which is LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen, again. Thank you, everyone. And I will see you at 5:30 p.m. next Wednesday with Andrew Ford talking about LinkedIn Premium. See you next week.
Bye.